Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Shabbat class, 27th of January, 2024. We're going back and looking at Ezra, based on the events that's going on today. We're going to go back to Ezra and read it and break it down on the things to be expected in these last days as we get being regathered. Okay, so you can go to our YouTube channel, to the Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. We have over 800, 900 videos that you can listen to and examine. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving on these videos, I'm asking you to hit the subscribe button, like button, and it'd be greatly appreciated. Okay. Our hours of operation are Tuesday nights from 8 to 10 Central Time. We have our advanced Bible study for everybody. Wednesday nights we do a lot of reading through the Tanakh. That's also 8 to 10 Central Time on YouTube. Thursday nights we have Women's Advanced Bible Study. For anybody that want to join and feel a need to advance their understanding of what's really going on in the Scripture. We got Men's Advanced Bible Study on Friday nights, but it's on Clubhouse. It's from 8 to 10 Central Time. The name of the room, title of the room is Non-Messianic Conversation. Then we come back on the Shabbat. We have two Shabbats, one in the morning, 8 to 10 to 12 a.m. Central Time, and then we come back to close out the Shabbat from 6 to 7 p.m. Okay. So with that being said, this is a non-Messianic channel, and by that means that we deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh is the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by the Lord of Hosts. Shalom and welcome to our channel, and welcome to our Sabbath class. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, Sabbath prayer, read the Psalms, we got the current events, then we got some need-to-know information, and we'll open it up for some questions or comments pertaining to our previous classes or previous conversation. Then we go into our topic, which is break down the book of Ezra, and we'll go close out. Okay, so this moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts, and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belongeth unto thee. Therefore we come before thee at this hour, seeking thy face and looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before thee as thy servants David and Solomon, Samuel and Hezekiah, that we may walk before thee in truth and in righteousness and the rightness of heart. Give unto us, O Lord, an understanding heart, that we may discern between what's good and what's bad, for you possess the power to do so. For we desire to walk after thee, O Lord, and to keep your commandments, your testimony, your statutes with all our heart and soul, to perform the words of the covenant that was written down by your prophets. O Lord, allow thy face to shine upon thy people, and hear our plea. Hear it, O Lord, and do. Hide not thy face from us, for we love you so very much at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay. So with that being said, I'll read Psalms. Okay. Read Psalms 37. The true state of the wicked. This is a Psalm of David. It says, fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in the Lord, and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospers in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil, for evildoers shall be cut off. But those that wait upon the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider this place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked plotteth against the just, gnasheth upon him with his teeth. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. The wicked have drawn out the sword, and have bent their bow, to cast down the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of upright conversation. Their sword shall enter in their own heart, and their bow shall be broken. A little that a righteous man have is better than the riches of many wicked. For the arm of the wicked shall be broken, but the Lord upholdeth the righteous. The Lord knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in evil times, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be as the fat of lambs. They shall consume, into smoke shall they consume away. The wicked borrow and prayeth not again, but the righteous showeth mercy and giveth. For such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth, and they that be cursed of him shall be cut off. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. I have been young, and now I am old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. He is ever merciful and lendeth, and his seed is blessed. Depart from evil, do good, and dwell forevermore. For the Lord loveth judgment, and forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever, but the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. The righteous shall inherit the land, and dwell therein forever. The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. The law of his God is in his heart. None of his steps shall slide. The wicked watcheth the righteous, and seeketh to slay him. The Lord will not leave him in his hands, nor condemn him when he is judged. Wait on the Lord, keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. I have seen the wicked in great power, spreading himself like a green bay tree. Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yea, I sought him, but he could not be found. Mark the perfect man, behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off. But the salvation of the righteous is of the Lord. He is their strength in the time of trouble. And the Lord shall help them and deliver them, and he shall deliver them from the wicked and save them because they trust in him. So this goes back to this is like my number one song, but you can see that it's going right along with what was talked about last night. He says, when you trust him and believe in him and fear him, then there's no problem with you being delivered. You're going to get delivered. And you're only dealing with the ones that respecting him, trusting him, and believing in him. That's who he delivered. That's the righteous. Okay. Any comments? Okay. So we go into our current events. Let's see what we got here.
The United States has just been divided, and this is not good for the American people. The concern right now is we are all at each other's throats. We are all a threat to one another, and the United States and the Biden administration is a threat to each and every one of us as well. I'm going to break down what's going on right now. This is highly concerning, and according to experts, this concern is only going to amplify. This is going to increase in intensity, and we are going to see this thing really pop off over the next 1 to 2 weeks. So get ready, because this is starting to go from bad to worse in a hurry. Now, all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. Now, let's begin. So the big concern right now here in the United States, now obviously we are concerned with Russia and China and Iran and all those other countries, and obviously the conflicts in the Middle East. But we can't avoid what is happening here on U.S. soil. And it has to do with the U.S. southern border. But the concern, and what I talked about earlier this morning as well, is the fact that we are getting closer and closer to a civil war. Experts say that what is going on right now between the Biden administration and Texas is it has all the makings of the beginning of a civil war. Just look at this. It says GOP governors have already sent troops to Texas amid civil war fears. They were planning to wait. What we were hearing is that states were going to wait. Governors were going to wait and then potentially send some troops, send their National Guard down to the U.S. southern border to help Texas. But some governors did not want to wait. They sent people immediately. Now, here's what I can tell you. The Biden administration, they asked the Supreme Court to pretty much tell Texas that the Border Patrol agents have the ability and the right to remove the razor wire from the border. Well, Texas says, okay, you can remove it, but we are just going to continue to add more and more razor wire. Well, guess what the Border Patrol says? The Border Patrol says they have no plans to remove razor wire set up by Texas amid the feud with the Biden administration. They are not going to remove it. Yes, the Biden administration wants them to, but Texas says we are not. Just because the Biden administration says that we should remove it and we have the right to, doesn't mean that border agents want to. It is helping. It's deterring migrants from coming into the United States illegally. Now, here's what we can, is something else that we know, is that the Biden administration, according to reports, Democrats are pushing President Biden to nationalize the National Guard. Okay? They're federalize the National Guard. And by doing so, they would get control over Texas's, National Guard. Well, guess what? Governor Greg Abbott from Texas says that Texas is prepared. They're prepared in this unlikely event that President Biden federalizes the National Guard. Well, I want to read you his statement. Look at this. It says, well, first, I'd be shocked That would be a boneheaded move on his part. Total disaster. And he goes on to say, for one, as you might imagine, we are prepared in the event that that unlikely event does occur to make sure that we will be able to continue exactly what we've been doing over the past month, and that is building these barriers. Texas is prepared. Biden administration is not. But
okay, anybody familiar with what's going on with the border now lately? The last week or so, last couple of days. Okay, well, let's see. Remember, they played the movie. They had the movie that came out. I think it's Leave America Behind, and then you got the upcoming video. Upcoming movie to that is Civil War. So they know something. Well, we don't know. Let's look at it. Okay. Let's see here. Okay.
$185 a month.
Refusing to give up control of the Texas border to federal officials, saying the state will not give federal agents full access to Shelby Park today. That ignores a deadline set by the Biden administration, which is today. Instead, Abbott is installing more razor wire following a Supreme Court order allowing federal agents to start removing it. Texas now receiving support from 25 Republican governors, all backing Governor Abbott's border actions, blaming the Biden administration for the crisis. Former President Trump wants to take it one step further. He's now encouraging these states to deploy their National Guard troops to Texas to prevent illegal crossings. Trump's vowing that if he becomes president again, he's going to work.
So they got 700 trucks, civilians and military and all this convoy going to the border from all these different states Monday. It's coming Monday.
With Abbott to seal the border, writing quote, Biden says let in those should not get comfortable because they will be going home. I want to bring in Texas Congressman Lieutenant Colonel Keith Self. Congressman, good morning. Governor Christiano already saying, yes, I would send National Guard troops. Is that something that you think that Texas is open to? And is that a move that needs to be made now?
Well, that will be up to Governor Abbott. But I think the border has now reached the boiling point that you now see governors getting involved. We have a trucker convoy coming down to the border. The American people are going to have to get involved. I'm delighted to see 25 governors support Governor Abbott. And I think we're going to have to be aware that the president can federalize the National Guard, but it would be much harder if 25 governors sent their National Guard troops to the border to support Texas.
Karine Jean-Pierre has been asked about this, and of course she's defending her boss, President Biden, but her response is always interesting. It still seems to be a gaslighting type of response from her. The border is secure. We're working on the border. Secretary Mayorkas, we're very aware of the issues down there. But their goal is to process migrants, not to stop the flow of migrants across the border.
Cheryl, I was on the border just 3 weeks ago, and that's exactly what the Border Patrol is doing. They have 72 hours to process the illegal immigrants, turn them over to ICE or a nonprofit to move them into the interior of the United States. They are not there to stop the invasion. And that's perfectly clear to anyone that's been on the border, anyone that sees the videos. At one point during the tsunami of probably a month ago, there were no Border Patrol agents actually in the field. They were all in the office processing paperwork during that tsunami.
Let's talk about this trucker convoy. You brought this up just a moment ago. So this is called Take Our Border Back. It kicks off Monday. So you've got multiple starts. You've got trucks leaving from Virginia Beach that are going to go through Texas, Arizona, California. On the website, it describes the event as a peaceful assembly, encouraging all freedom-loving and law-abiding Americans to attend. I saw that you posted on X to raise awareness about that.
Yeah, these same little buggers that attacked the White House on January 6th.
You obviously just mentioned it a moment ago. I understand that you're going to be speaking once they get to Eagle Pass. I also see that, that it's going to go through Yuma. It's going to go through San Ysidro, California as well. 700,000 vehicles. That's the prediction here. How do you keep that, peaceful and on track? That's a lot of trucks.
Well, the people that have organized this are the same people that went to California to D.C. with the truckers. Wow. I understand we're going to be joined by Canadian truckers. So these people are committed to a peaceful demonstration that we've had enough. The American people have had enough. We're demanding that the Biden administration do its job, enforce the laws on the books, and secure our border. 8 million people during the Biden administration. That's more than the population of Ohio. This is the time for us to rise up as the American people and demand that our president do his job.
Well, I hope, again, I do hope that envoy is peaceful and organized and doesn't kind of, you worry about large movements like this. I mean, obviously the Canadian trucker convoy you just mentioned ended up creating a lot of issues and supply chain issues, of course, for the Business Network. I had to ask that, but I do want to bring in Carol Ross. She's got a question for you. Go ahead, Carol.
Yeah, Congressman, I love the fact that people are standing up and using their voices peacefully, but we know that bad actors in the past have co-opted these types of events and done everything they can to make the peace-loving Americans look bad. Are you concerned that there might be some sort of co-opting of this convoy?
That's always a probability, but you learn as you do these events. So they now know that might have been in the past. So they've got measures in place to make sure that does not happen. And I am hopeful that will not happen because this should be a peaceful movement of the American people joined by other nations if they want to come. This is the Canadian trucker. This is the German farmers. This is the French farmers. This is the Dutch farmers. This is a movement well beyond the United States that people are simply tired of the overreach of their federal governments, and we're pushing back. Now is the time.
We continue, obviously, these proceedings against Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas. Where are we with that right now? Before we go, where are you with that?
Well, wants to impeach the secretary, and it failed because of Republican votes. I think that we will try again in the very near future. I thought we were going to do it last week, but I think we're close to doing it, and this time I fully expect that impeachment to pass and him to be impeached, pass it to the Senate for an actual trial.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Any comments on that? Anybody heard anything about that?
No, I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, they got 700,000 trucks going to the border. Supposed to reach it on Monday.
Shalom. I heard of it. I watched a little bit on television. Just took me back to all of these different treaties they used to make. Something is, like you said in the past, before something else is going on with that. Because if they keep allowing them to come in, what is the plan behind all of that? It's something hidden going on.
Oh yeah, right. Exactly. Even with the Trump situation, all these he keep crossing all these hurdles. That's really impossible. First of all, after what already happened, he should never even been. He should have been. He should just went off in the boondocks somewhere, just like those other people, like Hillary Clinton. Once she lost, that was it. You don't see her no more. She disappeared. But this
Right.
dude keep on hanging around, and and I was thinking about that, and I peeped game on it. It's those Israelis and those Jews that's behind it. That's doing everything because he's 100% behind them, and they want
Shalom.
him back
That's why I
in.
said some type of treaty, something they've done that they haven't said, and it has
Right,
to come to pass. Because again, that smoke screen we talked about a couple of months or so ago, get the world to looking at this while we do that. So
right,
it has been three judges that allowed him to talk about
right,
people and say things that no one else could say. So
right,
how is this man able to keep doing this and still winning the polls and all of these
right,
allegations against him, a lot with proof,
right,
and nothing's stopping him going forward?
right.
I guess because they want to use him again to get certain things done, because they want this war,
Yeah,
and so they have to push it.
right, exactly. And that's how they make all their money by chaos and wars. Like I said, they know those are from way back in history. That Ukraine and Russia thing was a hot spot. We already know that Gaza and the Israeli thing was already a hot spot. They bringing all those things up now because of what they doing. It's like what they doing with the blacks and the Democratic Party. That's how they all behind that. They got
Yes, sir. And
black.
they brought, and the Vatican is all in it too, all the money. They know things are getting ready to transpire. So they're calling all of their, allies together and trying to get this thing done, while the American people are focusing on something else. This is
Exactly.
serious, and everybody's getting geared up for this. All of those states are backing. So like you played the thing and you talked about before about a civil war, another war to happen, and people to be aware and get ready for this, because if it happens sooner than we think and you're not ready, then you're going to be left behind.
Exactly. It's all
Shalom.
going. It's like, okay, somebody.
Yes, sir. Shalom. What I see is that it's coming to the end. Basically, they know things are happening, so they want to stir up what's going on in their area. Why everybody's coming there to America? Why are they coming through that? Because it's supposed to be the land of um, richness, the land of the free, the brave. Everyone wants to come here, and being that it's overpopulating, and by Trump always saying, what he's saying now, and about the border and everything, and how they're going to do and what they need to be done, they gravitating for the votes to come to him, because everyone is saying what Biden is doing. Now they want the votes for Trump, and Trump is like the big horn or the little horn, like they mentioned in Revelation. He, even though he has nothing, he's just a prompt for it. He's just a face, and there's negotiation behind him. They put him up there, let him say whatever he want to say, do whatever he want to do, so they can still work whatever they're working in the background. And that's, I think that's what's going on. He is just a front face for this, to gear up the people who make America great people. Um, that slogan. They're going to do all they can to do it. By them doing those wire things, that's really, I don't care who they are, that is terrible to have wire inside of the waters, and they're just killing these people because they get cut, they pollute the water because all their bodies are going to be floating around in there, and they'll take them out. They won't say how many people died from trying to cross through and getting cut off that wire that they don't realize is there. It's just so much.
Exactly, right. It's the same thing. You see it all over. It's what was prophesied by the Creator and by the prophets was that, and it's happening, and they panicking. Like I said, look at what Israel doing. It's no different than what they're trying to do to the migrants. They see their world dissolving, and they coming up with drastic measures, trying to cut it off. So looking at this Civil War thing, it's all centered around this next election, right? So when you look at how what I was playing last night and what I played Thursday night was how the blacks are flocking toward Trump. They leaving Trump. Well, the Democrats got to do something, right? We already know what that is. And in order to turn them back, it's going to have to be reparations, going to have to be addressed some kind of way. So imagine it's like 70%, 75% of the whites, these same nut buckets that bum rushed the White House on January 6th, they're against it. So in order for them to get the blacks back, he do reparations. A civil war right there with everything else that's going on. They're going to go slap crazy. So supposed to be expecting all this. Like I said, they're pulling out all the stops for what they got going on. And nobody is saying nothing about what's going on with the jab. Last in 2020, what's the jab doing now? It was all over the news in 2020, and what it's doing the same thing now, but it's off the radar. So all these things is like a perfect storm that they concoct and bring it together before the election. It's got to happen before the election. Like I said, it's going to be some chaos behind this caravan convoy they got going for Monday. So look at this right here. This some need to know information right here. And you got to look at this too. Where this guy got emboldened that he's doing this all of a sudden.
Fellow South Africans, earlier today, the International Court of Justice in The Hague in the Netherlands issued a ruling that is a victory for international law, for human rights, and above all, for justice. This follows the unprecedented action taken by South Africa to take another country to the International Court. On the 29th of December 2023, South Africa filed an application instituting proceedings against the state of Israel for the violence it has unleashed on the people of the Gaza Strip, arguing that Israel was in breach of its obligations under the convention. South Africa had earlier condemned the 7th October 2023 attack by Hamas and other groups that resulted in the deaths of many Israelis and the taking of hostages. The court, in its judgment, affirmed South Africa's right to take Israel to court, even though it is not a party to the conflict in Gaza. The ICJ, as the principal judicial organ of the United Nations, has handed down a ruling that the state of Israel should immediately implement a set of provisional measures to prevent any further acts of genocide in Gaza, and to desist from such acts, and to take effective measures to prevent the destruction and ensure the preservation of evidence relating to acts of genocide. As the South African government, we welcome the decision of the International Court of Justice. We note the court's statement that it is acutely aware of the extent of the human tragedy that is unfolding in the region, and is deeply concerned about the continuing loss of life and human suffering, and that the catastrophic humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip is at serious risk of deteriorating further before the court renders its final judgment. We welcome the measures that the court ordered by a majority decision, ruling that the Israeli military should not commit acts of genocide against Palestinians. Israel should take all measures to prevent and punish incitement to genocide. Furthermore, it should take immediate and effective measures to allow basic services and humanitarian assistance in the form of food.
So, like I was saying before, you know, we got to look at this. Where's this guy getting these balls from? They've been popping these South African president. I mean, these African presidents upside the head, kicking them in their butt and everything else for the last 2,000 years. Now all of a sudden he get emboldened to take Israel to the criminal court, right? And then on top of that, look what's happening when you understand what's happening in Africa, especially in Ethiopia. The chaos that's going on in Ethiopia, the chaos that's going on in the Congo. But you're going to take Israel to the criminal court about the Palestinians. But you got all this hell broke loose and all this genocide going on in the Congo right now. Not even thinking about what Leopold done, all the people he killed and chopped off their hands and feet. And so it's the same thing pretty much is coming back around again in the Congo. But you over there putting the charges against Israel by Palestine. It's all orchestrated. Like I said, it's gonna come to a head before the election. All right, this like I said, this don't make no sense.
Food, medication,
where's this coming from?
And other basic necessities to Gaza, and it should also preserve evidence of what is happening in Gaza. And lastly, it should submit a report within a month on all measures taken to give effect to the ICJ order within 1 month. This order is binding on Israel and must be respected by all states that are party to the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. We expect Israel, as a self-proclaimed democracy and a state that respects the rule of law, to abide by the measures handed down by the International Court of Justice.
In case I don't know if nobody on here know it though, but they came out with their ruling and they went against Israel, and now the same dude right here is suing the U.S. for assisting the Israelis in what they're doing. So, like I said, who empowering this dude? Where you getting all these balls from? Come on. So anyway, any comments on that?
Shalom, everyone. I heard him say something about to make sure that they have the basic necessities that they need, right? He wants Israel to make sure of that, right? And to stop doing what they're doing. But here it is in your country, in your land, your people don't even have the basic necessities. So how are you speaking for someone else and not even standing up for your place?
Exactly. That's right. And we've been duped like this, like I was saying before, over and over again, but nobody been paying attention to it. Obama did the same thing. You can't want to see. Like I said, what is you perpetrating a fraud? Your rise to power was that, you know, it was black, you know, black oriented, and people had the black folks running all around, hooping, hollering about you. Then you get up there and you don't do shit, nothing. You ain't make nothing happen for the black folks. All you did was brought chaos. You so worried about the LGBT community and and you know, the Asians and all this shit. You ain't do nothing that had nothing to do with the African Americans. So they tell you right there, it was them. It was a plot. The same thing right here with this. We ain't figured it out, so they're gonna continue to keep using it until we figure it out. They bring all these nut buckets on the scene. It goes all the way back to Frederick Douglass. Right. But there's some. And so, like I said, just look at that. What this guy doing from South Africa? I mean, that's above his pay grade. You know, where is it coming from? Okay.
Shalom.
Yeah.
Being that the United States is somewhat feared by all the other um, nations there, could it be that they have something on South Africa that they are telling them they have to do certain things, or less whatever hold they have on them, they can take back or give or do something to them? That's why they're doing what they're doing. As far as the
Well,
United States being sanctioned them if they don't do this, or how they have it where if there's not going the United States way, they start sanctioning different um, nations that don't cooperate with them.
Shalom.
Okay. Go ahead.
Excuse me, Shalom. I look at it as though they are doing whatever it is that is beneficial for them. For them as president or whoever you see up there speaking from Africa, it's always something that benefits them. It's never to benefit their people. So, like I said, he was speaking of the necessities, right, that the people need there. So, but his people don't even have the necessities. So get up there and speak for your people first, which you are not doing. So when we see that's not happening, you already know it's a snake in the grass.
Right.
He has nothing to say that's going to benefit his people, only himself. So whether they are paying him or doing, saying, okay, we need you to do this or that, it's for his benefit. He's straight, but his people are not.
Right. And another thing that what has happened when they didn't dumb us down, but just from researching and the conversations we had on this channel, any powers and principalities over every country?
Yes, sir.
So we looking at it from those people, what they gonna get out of it. What about the principality that's over them? What about what they gonna get out of it? They had, and then we know they got a league, just like those 200 angels made an oath together long ago. They got a league. These men got satanic league with each other. They all working together in different countries, but they all got allegiance and an oath to some secret cabal they're dealing with, and they got trying to get to a certain agenda. So that's what you have to look at, and then you have to look at that from a biblical perspective. Israel, Psalms 83. They don't want this. Look what happened when AR released EZRA, and they released Zerubbabel to come back to build the temple. And look what the people did when the Israelites got back to the land to build the temple. They went berserk. They tried to cut it off. So when you understand what's getting ready to happen with us, it's the same thing happening. They're trying to prevent it, and there's powers and principalities involved in it. That's the bigger picture, and that's why it's so many. It's a maze, really a maze that they done built up over ever since Israel was kicked out of their land. They didn't gave us a false ass God, JC. They didn't gave us a New Testament, and they didn't heed. The Cain got a seed line on it. All that stuff has been those are layers, and that's where the drama comes in. That's how you come to your conclusion of what's going on in the world today is based on understanding those things, right? So I got something else tied to that way back when it was revealed to me who the Lord of hosts was, it was revealed to me who Esau was too. But those are things that you can't bring all that on the scene at the one time, because somebody that's trying to learn it and figure it out is going to, it's going to throw them off. So this is what I came across last night when I was looking at something. I've been knew it, but I just left it alone. So we're going to check this out. This is a major. This is just as big. This is just as big as JC thing. I understand that JC is a fraud. You have to understand this too, right here.
James, thank you for once again coming back home with family. For those of you that happen to be new here, I hope that you hear something today that will persuade you to stay. If you have not already done so, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. What are you waiting for? With that being said, let's jump straight into today's brief but informational video. I want to begin to talk about one of my videos that I'm going to link down below. When I began to meet an Edo woman of Nigeria, and out of her own mouth, she stated that...
I told you that Esau, Nigeria is Ephraim, right? Remember that.
Her predecessor, and confirmed, would be indeed the biblical Esau. This woman looked a lot like me because I am part Choctaw Native American. Also, due to the fact that my Hebrew Israelite ancestors look a lot like my Choctaw Native American Edom ancestors. This brings us to one of the comments that was very jarring, which I am used to because a lot of you guys, frontal lobe is still yet to be developed. And I can completely understand that your brain is still moving around in your head. You're still reworking trauma. So you think that it's normal to come under people's videos when you haven't even opened up a book to do a lot of studying on your own, because some of you were codependent on just getting by in school. You never were really a good student. So I don't expect for you to be the best scholar biblically. Some of you are still spiritual.
So I'm playing this for a reason. So the name of it is Esau is not white. Edom, Iglo, Native Americans, Arab children are of Edom. So you want to check this out, because I'm gonna come back tonight again, but I'm just playing it now. It's loaded. So okay.
Spiritually asleep, like I was in 2018. Some of you still believe that Esau is the white man and that Negro only doctrines, and it's because your level of intellectual capacity has hit its mark. And a lot of this is due to the egotistical nature of which we operate in that keeps a lot of you stupid and unlearned and ignorant, because we bring ego to scholarship, and ego has no place in scholarship. I'm talking specifically to this Haitian man in my comments who's decreeing and declaring that Esau is the white man, and he's dropping scriptures to begin to try to prove it. And he even said out of his mouth that the word ruddy doesn't mean anything. Who are we to begin to dismiss the descriptive markers that was placed in the book for us to be able to identify people, places, and things, when the same Hebrew Israelites will use scriptures out of context to begin to say, see, look, it said that we were black and comely, to begin to prove that the identity of the Israelites are black. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Let's begin to talk about how the word red is important to Haitians. And I can talk about this because although I don't claim Haitian ancestry, because I never met my great-great-grandfather, he was a Creole from Louisiana, which will lead me to Haiti. Well, how does this lead you to Haiti? My grandmother, my great-grandmother, when she looked at my son, and I told the story before, because my son is Creole complected, just like my mama. Like, there's a difference between being light-skinned and being yellow or being Creole complected. My great-grandmother was light-skinned. She was a yellow woman. My mother and my son are Creole complected. So when I brought my baby to meet my great-grandmother, and she looked at him and said, who white baby is this? This is the same way she would describe her father. He was Creole. And we began to look at the Creole in Louisiana. Majority of them came from South Carolina, from Florida, into Louisiana, but they were coming from Haiti. And some of them came straight from Haiti. And we began to look at South Carolina and your Florida. This is where you get your Gullah Geechee people, right? And so when you begin to look at your Creole people and your Haitians, how do we prove that these are the same people? Because in Haiti, they have a saying in Creole and French Creole, because these are the Huguenots. Let's begin to talk about this. The fact that a lot of these people over in Haiti who are of lighter complexion, who you see now in the Dominican Republic, dealing with the colorism, they came over from France in the French Revolution. These were your free and some indentured Sephardic Jews and Moors who could pass at times, and some of them were fully complected. Then you also have from the transatlantic slave trade, where you had your West African, your Elephantine Jews coming over. So you had different incursions of different groups of Jews, Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom, coming into these places. The Haitians have a saying in Creole that identify them to be Igbos. And we know that the Igbos are known to be the tribe of Gad, and Gad operated as their own confederate. They broke off and they created a priesthood. And we see that the Arachuku of the Igbo had a dominant role in the transatlantic slave trade. There's a gentleman in my comments who is Igbo, and he said that Edo, E-D-O, in Igbo literally means yellow or red, and it is to describe the complexion of the other Igbo, because the caste system based on complexion was also in France and in Africa. It got brought over here into the Americas. We begin to look at amarillo, that's the Spanish word for yellow. And this is where the word Creole came out of. When you have a Edo Igbo, this is a red Igbo, a yellow Igbo, a Creole looking Igbo. So how can we begin to dismiss markers, Mr. Haitian man, when your people themselves use the word Edo to describe the yellow or the red, the ruddy Igbo among
phenotypes? She using another word.
Them. We have to stop denying history for what it is. This is a warning to those of you still identifying Esau as the day-to-day white man. You are in gross error and you will be deceived. The reason that some of the world Edomite appear to be white, but if you look at them, they have the big noses, the curly hair, they have the big bushy long beards. They still have Hebraic markers about them, just like when you look at the Sicilians and when you look at the Spaniards and when you begin to look at some of the French and all of these other people with their big curly hair, but their phenotype appears to be non-Negro. They are still Israelites because of who they descend from. We have to remember that Edom married amongst Ishmael. Ishmael is a black Arabic man. We have to remember that Edom married against Canaan. Did not Canaan come out of Ham? Whether you want to believe that the curse of Canaan was a lighter skin.
Right. So let's look at that.
We have to remember
So, like I was saying, this is our marker. This is where I see where a lot of people getting cyborg at, and we constantly hearing it all over the place. Was why they ain't getting it? It's plain. Why they ain't getting it? Cause of this. They ain't no damn Israelites. So we say, we already see how he condemned the Israelites. Look what he did with Ezra. When Ezra came back, and I mean, you know, you can take this, do what you want to do with it. But when Ezra came back to the land of Israel, he found them, the priests, everybody intermingling with other people. And he told them they all gathered together. Then he gave them a judgment. You got to get rid of these women and these children. So you're not going to apply that to the day. And then, like I said, 2,500 years later, imagine what they was doing was only 5 or 10 years when Ezra got there. This is 2,500 years later. So my point is this. Then, like I said, it's probably do you some good to watch this video because I'm gonna go in on it. There's a lot going on with it. But so you look at what Titus and Vespasian did. I say it over and over again, but I think it's on register. The Israelites, there was the Edomites in the land in 70 AD. He sent them to Spain. He sent them to Spain. Then so that's Spain is over Portugal. You think it's a coincidence that Spain is the one where the 3 ships came from? And then the Pinto de Santa Maria, the Edomites. And they ain't white. And then they went from Portugal, they the ones started the ships coming to the West Coast where the Israelites is at. But guess what? Thousands upon thousands of so-called, you got some of our historians saying that they Israelites from Spain, they dumped them on the west coast of Africa. Them was Edomites. They dumped thousands upon thousands of them on the west coast. And then what they do? They went into the interior of Africa and intermingled with us. And that's what nobody ain't considering. And so I just left it alone because when it was shown to me, because you know, you already got all this other stuff, people waking up trying to deal with JC and all that. But this is what the drama is right here. This is why he says he gotta, when you go to Joel, when he says the army coming and they climbing the walls and they doing this. Well, the people they're looking for, they're gonna surprise the hell out of you. You know, because we off on some more stuff because of all this hoodwinking and these layers that they got. You know, like I said, if he done pulled his spirit out on us, and then you look at the scriptures, and it's coming to you plain as day. Why it ain't coming to them plain as day? Because of this. These markers. These signs. Like he said that Deuteronomy 28 said we're gonna be at the bottom of the food chain. So how we got a Negro that's the president? You say we still in the curses. How we got a Negro that's supposed to be an Israelite, the president? And we at the bottom of the food chain. Or any other Negro that's sitting up with a whole bunch of money. How is he an Israelite? It's denigrating what was said by the prophets and the curses. And what Moses told us. You can't be Israelite and at the top of the food chain. Wealth. He said he kicked us when he went and delivered the Israelites out of Egypt. Then some of them ain't stay. He said all of them, they all left. He didn't leave not one. So same thing right here. It ain't, some Israelites got some money. But the majority of them at the bottom of the food chain. No, he said all of them if you're an Israelite, you're at the bottom of the food chain. Just what we tricked off at. You want to wonder why, if it was, look at Moses. He sent Moses to the land of Egypt to get the Israelites. Okay? Well, just think he just sent Obama. to Egypt to get the Israelites, he wouldn't have got nobody. So that tell you what he is. And any other Negro that's not dealing with the cause, the Most High cause, they ain't no Israelites. I don't give a damn how they look. And that's what we fumbling with. They're not doing and thinking they're not doing the things the Israelites do. Because they ain't Israelites.
These things, we have to remember that the Edomites were forcibly converted to the Jews' religion and the Hasmonean dynasty.
Right.
We have to remember that the tribe of Dan, the Philistines, Tyre, Zidon, and Edom were seen together in conglomerates throughout history. Do not be ignorant, people of the Most High God. And then
it's 12 tribe chart. The Edomites concocted that.
You argue instead of taking a pause to say, let me read these scriptures that she's sending. Let me click on these links that she's sending. Let me sit down and rewatch this video with notes, because as a student, what I do when I'm watching video, I'm taking notes in my phone. I'm pausing the video to research what's been said. I am checking for what it is that I believe and the research that I found to see if it be true, to see if I have any errors. I am even the type of student that if I hear something that I don't agree with, I go and study it to see if I'm wrong, to see if there's some knowledge that I can gain, because that's how hungry and thirsty for righteousness and for knowledge that I am, that I don't have to be right. I do not post videos unless I have thoroughly researched, because I know that I'm under the eye of scrutiny, because I know that my voice matters and people listen and they just believe anything without studying, without researching. And I will not be one of those that causes the sheep of Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh to scatter. When we began to look at Edom, Benin, that literally means red sun. Benin is a Portuguese word.
Portuguese.
Benai means sun in Hebrew. Edom means red. This cannot be denied. So are you going to tell the Edoma of Nigeria that they are not Edomites? Mr. Haitian man, are you going to tell the Igala of Nigeria that they are not Edomites? Are you going to tell the Idom of Nigeria that they are not Edomites? Are you going to tell these people who they are? Are you going to tell me as a Choctaw Native American woman that my Choctaw ancestors were not Syro-Phoenician, Hittite?
So like I was saying, and now let's look at, and then we'll go into the reading out of the book of Ezra. But he says, and this is where the New Testament come in at, we've been hoodwinked there. He says, and they got it twisted all up. He said that we're gonna mingle in the last days with the seed of man. There it is. I know damn giants. If he cast us off, and then he said, like I was telling you, he said, I'm gonna reduce you. Remember what we saw when they came into the land, when they got to the mountain. He said that I have accomplished what I done, the promise I made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And what was that? You're gonna be like the sands of the sea. There was Negroes everywhere. But the curse says, I'm gonna reduce that number down to nothing. How I do it? This is one of the reasons. This is one of the ways. Transatlantic slave trade, throwing Negroes over the ocean in the water where the sharks at. All that. That's how he reduced them down. Let me see if I hear. They ain't Israelites. Well, all the people that was on the boats. Edomites is on the captains and the crew on the ship was Edomites that was impregnating all those Israelite women. And when they got over here, them ain't Israelites. They left the West Coast Israelite. But when they got over here, you know, the Israelite was thrown over the slave ship. Most of them, the women, but the ones that got here with the kids, with a different complexion by the time they got here, on the plantations, them ain't Edomites. The Israelites ain't going in nobody. They bound up. They're not able to do nothing. It's these plantation owners and these crews on these ships and all that impregnating the women. They ain't no Edomites. They ain't no Israelites. He said we're gonna mingle with the seed of men. We got over here, mingle with the Indian, mingle with the Portuguese, mingle with the Vikings. That's what he's talking about. And that's why it's few in number. And when he poured his spirit out on them, that's why these nut buckets and whatever they doing. Like I say, you dip them in the water, they're demon. All they do is come up a wet demon. And shit happen. Same thing with the spirit. When the spirit poured out, the Israelites gonna go to vibrating, but whatever they doing, if they twerking and the spirit poured out on them, they gonna keep on twerking. It's just gonna fall off like water on a duck bag. But the Israelite is gonna respond. And it's very few of them. Okay? That's who empowering this internet. That's who empowering all these big ass channels with 200,000 all that subscribers, these Edomites and people of the nation. When they come across the truth of the they're not dealing with that. They ain't dealing with nothing got to do with the Most High. It's truth and it's knowledge. They deal with everything but that. Clubhouse. Nut buckets. That's all that is. Yeah. Any comments? Everybody good? So we go to now we're going into the book of Ezra. So what I'm gonna do is we've been here so many times, I'm just gonna go to the first two chapters. We already know what that is. That's when Ezra came. When Cyrus came and told the Israelites what Jeremiah told them, that they was going to be in Egypt for they're going to be in Babylon for 70 years, and they were going to come out after 70 years. They were going to be delivered. So Cyrus came in Daniel 9:25. Cyrus fulfilled that, what Jeremiah said, and he fulfilled what Daniel said, along with Zerubbabel and Joshua. And so I'm going to pick it up in chapter 3, I think it is. Let me see. Yeah, the restoration of worship. So my point is this, like I said, it's nothing new under the sun. If you go to Zephaniah, which hasn't happened yet, let me read that right quick. Then I go back to Ezra. So you go to Zephaniah, and you'll see that let me get it. Pages sticking together. Okay. Okay, Zephaniah chapter 3, start at verse 9. Say, for then will I turn to the people of pure language, that they may all call upon the name of the Lord and serve him 1%. For beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my supplements, even the daughter of my dispersed, shall bring my offering. In that day shall thou not be ashamed of all the doings wherein thou hast transgressed against me, for then will I take away out of the midst of thee them, there we go, them that rejoice in thy pride, and thou that shall no more be haughty because of my holy mountain. So we right back in the same situation when Ezra and them showed up in Jerusalem. So we got to go back there. And the same thing got to happen when we get back to happen with Ezra and them. So the Restoration, chapter 3, says the restoration of worship. So 2,500 years, 3,000 years, we ain't worship as a collective, as a nation. We ain't worship him in our land, with the temple, on the holy mountain, where he at. We ain't did that. So that's the first thing when we go back after Zephaniah. He called us back from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, back to the land. We got to restore the worship. So it says, pick it up in chapter 3, it says, and when the seventh month was come, and the children of Israel were in their cities, right? The people gathered themselves together as one man to Jerusalem. See that? So why is he saying one man? They all came from Jacob. So like I said before, he told Moses, go to Egypt and get the Israelites. They one man. Ain't none of them stay there. So you can't have no Israelite that's not in the curses. They all under the curses. All of them at the bottom of the food chain. Ain't no Israelites at the top with no money. If they got money and all that, they ain't no Israelite. So it says, they all gathered as one man to Jerusalem. Then stood up Joshua, the son of Jozadak, and his brethren, the priest, and Zerubbabel, the son of Sethel, and his brethren, and builded the altar of God of Israel to offer burnt offerings thereon, as it is written in the law of Moses, the man of God. And they set the altar upon its base, for fear was upon them because of the people of the country. And they offered, somebody got some noise going on. Says, and they set the altar upon this base, for fear was upon them because of the people of those countries. And they offered burnt offerings thereupon unto the Lord, even burnt offerings morning and evening. They kept also the feast of the tabernacle, as it is written, and offered the daily burnt offerings by number, according to the custom, as the duty of every day is required. So let's look at that. So Daniel told us in Daniel 9:25 and 26:27, he says that after the Israelites they was gonna come back, rebuild Jerusalem, the people who's gonna be in the streets, and the streets gonna be built up again, all that. But 26 says, but the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, right? And they're gonna stop the daily sacrifices, right? So see right here, this killed JC too, right here. So it says, when they got back, it says in verse 3, they set up the altar upon its base, for fear was upon them because of the people of those countries, and they offer burnt offerings. So they pick right back up. That's what we gotta do. Because of JC, you don't see this. So when we get back over there, we gotta set the altar back up. We got to start back the daily the sacrifices, one in the morning, one at noon, and one in the evening. We got to do that, right? So it says, upon this base, for fear was upon them because of the people of the countries, and they offer burnt offerings thereupon to the Lord, even burnt offerings morning and evening. And they kept also the feast of the tabernacles, as it is written, and offered the daily burnt offerings by number. It's three of them every day, according to the custom, as the duty of every day required. And afterwards offered the continual burnt offerings, both of new moons and of the set feasts of the Lord that were consecrated, and every one that was willingly offered a free will offering unto the Lord. On the first day of the seventh month began they to offer burnt offerings to the Lord, but the foundation of the temple of the Lord was not yet laid. They gave money also unto the masons and unto the carpenters, and meat and drink, oil upon them of the Zidons, and to them Tyre, and to bring cedar trees from Lebanon to the sea of Joppa, according to the grant that they had from Cyrus, king of Persia. So we see right here, they got to have meat offerings and all that. So go back to what I was reading in Isaiah chapter 60, that he's gonna restore all of the herds, the flocks and the herds. So like I was saying before, when you understand this and read it in context, that, you know, what JC don't have nothing to do with it, because he's supposed to be then died, made ultimate sacrifice. So why would they be coming back with herds and flocks and animals to make sacrifices and to pick up the pick back up where they left off at when Antiochus cut us off, stop the daily sacrifices? Don't add up. So 7 says, they gave money also unto the masons, to the carpenters, and to the meat and drink and oil unto the Zidonians, and to them of Tyre, to bring cedar trees from Lebanon to the sea of Joppa, according to the grant that they had of Cyrus, king of Persia. It says, now in the 2nd year of their coming out of the house of God at Jerusalem, in the 2nd month, begins Zerubbabel the son of Sethel, and Jeshua the son of Zodak, and the remnant of their brethren, the priests and the Levites, and all they that were come out of the captivity unto Jerusalem, and they appointed Levites from 20 years old and upward to set forward the work of the house of the Lord. So right here we see in verse 8, this is the arm of the Lord in Isaiah 53. When he said he said, my arm did this and my arm did that. This is the arm right here. 8. Now in the 2nd year of their coming up out of the house of God at Jerusalem, in the 2nd month, behold, Zerubbabel, the son of Sethel, is one of the anointed ones, Joshua, the son of Zodak, that's the other anointed one out of Moses' lineage, and the remnant of their brethren, the priests, and the Levites, and all they that will come out of the captivity unto Jerusalem, and appointed the Levites from 20 years old and upward to set forward the work of the house of the Lord. That's the arm. That's the remnant. Like I said last night, when he poured out his spirit, Thursday night, he poured his spirit out on the handmaidens and on the old men having dreams, the young men having vision. That's the remnant. That's the arm. Nothing new under the sun. And so if you're baffled by somebody not getting it, like I said, it ain't for you to be baffled. That's already showing you what's going on with them. Something ain't right with them. They ain't getting it. You getting it and they ain't getting it. There's something wrong. Internal. Okay. 9. Then stood up Joshua with his sons and his brothers, and Kadmiel and his sons, the sons of Judah, together to set forward the workmen in the house of God, the sons of Henadad with their sons and their brethren, the Levites. So let's look at this right here. This right here is like, it's common sense, right? So they in Jerusalem, right? They in Jerusalem. So how did they get to Jerusalem from Babylon? The Most High identified them in Babylon. Didn't no nut buckets come out of there. He identified them in Babylon. Look what it say. Then stood Joshua with his sons and his brethren. See that? Who? What sons and what brethren? Connected to Aaron. So they was chosen back in Babylon who signed the lead. Like we read, it says he raised up. Let's look at it. So same thing happening now. People that's waking up, they chose over here before we go. So it says in Ezra chapter 1, verse 5, then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin, and the priests, see that, out of Aaron's image, and the Levites, and all them whose spirit God had raised to go to build the house of the Lord. So they got chose way back in Babylon. So same thing here. You getting chose here. And how you know that? You looking at the script and it's being waking up. You looking dead at it. It's illuminating. So if it ain't illuminating to you, you ain't getting it. It's something ain't right. Simple as that. It's like dirty water. You go get you a cup of water and it's rusty, and you pour the water out. Something wrong with it. So, as I said, verse, I gotta go back where I was at, chapter 3. So it says, then stood up Joshua with his sons and his brethren and Kedar and his sons and sons of Judah together to set forward the workmen in the house of God, the sons of Henadad with their sons and their brethren and their Levites. And when the builders laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord, they set the priests in their apparel with their trumpets, and the Levites and the sons of Asaph with their cymbals to praise the Lord after the ordinance of David. See that? Going back to David, ordinance of David. So let's look at that. 10. And when the builders laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord, they set the priests in their apparel. Well, what that tell me, right? It says, like I say, they're looking for the suffering servant, right? Let's look at it. Isaiah 52. We're looking that suffering servant. They say is JC in chapter 53. But let's look at this. 52, last 3 verses. It says the suffering of the Lord's servant. So suffering servant right here. Right? So it says, behold, my servant shall deal prudently. He shall be exalted and extolled and be very high. As many as astonished at his vestige, garments, were so marred more than any man, and his form as sons of men. So shall he sprinkle many nations. The kings shall shut their mouths at him, for that which they had not been told shall they see, and that which they had not heard shall they consider. So what they're going to see, that's going to change their mind. Right here. Right here. He says, and the builders laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord, and they set the priests in their apparel. When you see them up there in their apparel, and they doing what David gave them to do, then you're going to know. Right? Is that something?
Yes, sir.
So look at this. Let me deal with this. So he says, the masons, the carpenters were builders in Ezra 3 and 7. They were hired with the grant from the decree of Cyrus. That's what it say, brother. It says, when the builders laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord, they set the priests in their apparel with the trumpets, and the Levites and sons of Asaph with the cymbals to the priest of the Lord after the ordinance of King David. That's what it says. It means it's Cyrus. We know Cyrus sent them. All right, so I mean, okay. So anyway, appreciate that. So we see right here that, like I said, just from reading this and breaking it down on precept, it had nothing to do with JC. The suffering servant, Isaiah 53, we see it right here. It's the Levites. He says they're going to come back, they're going to pick back up where they left off at, just like they did when Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the temple, and they went to Babylon for 70 years. When they came back, they picked right back up what I'm reading right here. So these are the same thing we're supposed to be expecting. It's getting ready to happen now. It's already happening. He's pouring the spirit out on them. The people that's the remnant being chosen right now. The ones that's getting it. The remnant being chosen, that's who's going back. And like I said, I just showed you what the sister was saying about all the intermingling that went on. It's the way it is because of that. They ain't Israelite. Coming up with all this off doctrine misdiagnosing, understanding the scriptures. And especially not only that, you got people, it's being shown to you. It could be a donkey. If they read the scriptures and it's illuminating and it's coming out and you're looking at it for what it's saying, then it's saying what it's saying. So if and then you don't want to deal with that, something ain't right. It's that simple. Yeah. Like I said, something as simple as Isaiah 60. He says he's gonna bring back his he said they come in with their flocks and with their herds. What they need the flocks and herds for, those are clean animals that they need to use in the temple to make sacrifices. JC already did the ultimate sacrifice. They don't have to do that no more. Then you got all these people coming up with, it's all different type of sacrifices. Hell no, the animals, he said the blood is in the animals is for the atonement of the mankind. Now you twisting it all different type of ways because the truth coming out, they able to jump, come and twist it back up again. Once it's being laid out, instead of looking at what creator is doing, they come and try to twist it up some more. When you showing them, he's looking at it. These animals, he said the blood, the life, that's why they couldn't drink the blood, because the life, the spirit was in the animal. The animal, it took the animal. He took 2 goats on the Day of Atonement. One you laid hands on and sent him in the wilderness, and the other one was slaughtered. That blood that was in that goat is what was the atonement for the whole nation of Israel that year. Come on, I mean, what else? How can you twist that up? Why can't you get a JC out of that? And then you say that the people was he came and died for everybody. Well, the Nephilim is mean. They giants, but they mean. He came and died for the man. He came and died for the beast of the field. He came and died for the Esau. Cain descendants, he came and died for them. It's garbage. He came and died for the Amalekites. He sent Saul to go kill all the Amalekites. He sent Moses, Joshua, Caleb to kill the Canaanites. He came and died for the Canaanites. Come on. We at a crossroads. Any comments, questions? And so so anyway, so I'll read chapter 4 and then I'm gonna close out. But it says, this Ezra chapter 4, let me get it. I just lost it. So you go to Ezra chapter 4. Like I said, keep in mind, there ain't nothing new under the sun. What happened before gonna happen again. So I'm in chapter 4. And the title of chapter 4 says, the adversary, right? Seek to stop the work. So we've been called in Zephaniah from beyond the rivers detail, we back in Jerusalem. Well, the adversary coming to try to stop the work. Who the adversary is? The nations. Isaiah 83, Psalms 83. Same thing, it's a cycle. We get back, they're not just going to let us go back and rebuild the temple. Just like it was the adversaries then, them same adversaries still here now. The New Testament and JC just tricked them off. Esau tried to help the Israelites build the temple when they came back from Babylon, and they said, no, you don't have nothing to do with us building the temple or us erecting an altar. It's above your pay grade. So the same thing gonna happen. We see the same thing happening now. We ain't gonna just waltz back over there on a cloud and go back and everything go smooth. They're gonna do the same thing they did now. They're gonna same thing they did then, they're gonna do it now. Okay. So, like I said before, I'm gonna come back tonight because it's more. I'm just giving you. I'm just doing just glossing over this right now. But I'm going in paint. It's Esau. This is the title of the video. Esau is not white. Edom, Igbo, Native Americans, and Arabic children of Edom. So what the lady's saying is Esau right in the same place. They're twins. They in the same place. They was in West Africa too. They brought them there too. And then they was the ones that intermingled with us on the boat. They're the ones that was intermingled with us in Spain. And like I said, they brought a lot of Edomites that they saying Israelites to the west coast of Africa and dropped them off. That's who helping the people bring them to the shoreline, the Israelites to the shoreline. As the brother was saying, how they get them to the shoreline? It had to be a force. It had to be a force or an army or a nation of people that helped them round us up. So who was they? They was Edomites. They was there too. Okay, and they did intermingle all up in our bloodline, all in our seed line too. They didn't just leave us alone. And another thing I was in there that I wanted to shine light on was Gad. But I don't know if you heard that, but Gad, when Solomon did what he did, and he brought in Jeroboam and split the nation up, Jeroboam built the temple down with the 10 tribes, where they needed priests. They got them out of Gad. So we know the original priest, the bloodline that we follow, he got a covenant with Aaron, the priest and the Levites. They coming out of Aaron, the original priest. But now we got a whole nother priesthood over here from Gad that was over with the 10 tribe. That's how Satan operates. Like I said, it's layers. So when Ezra was on his way back, and the priest that was with him back to Babylon, back to Jerusalem, he had to stop and do a survey. He had to do a survey. He had to critique all of them to see which ones was real and which ones wasn't. And not only that, you had the Neathans, the ones that the Edomites that David had brought as slaves in the temple that was helping the Levites in the temple gather wood and helping them with the blood and the sacrifices and all that. So when Nebuchadnezzar came and took them all to Babylon, and when they came back, some of them stepped up like they was Levites because they knew the goings on in the temple because they had learned from when David brought them there to help the Levites. So you got 3 different priesthoods right there. And who know that? You got the real priesthood, you got the ones coming from Gad, and then you got the ones came from Esau. That's where you get all these during the time of when Esau was in the land. When Esau was in the land in 70 AD, that's where you get all these whacked out ass factions from. Israel was on the west coast of Africa. All that history that's going on in the land when Esau was there up to 70 AD, from 143 BC to 70 AD, is these people. Converts and wannabes. So yeah, with that being said, anybody got any comments or questions? Before we go. Everybody good?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, so I'm gonna go in on that video because like I said, you gotta ask yourself, just like a previous video, we said, you know, where did she get this from? Where'd she get it from? Okay, so with that being said, Shalom. I see y'all this evening at 6 o'clock.
Shalom, shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Shalom.